Hello and welcome to another mini training. Today's session is all about working according to your capacity and something I'm really passionate about. I'm going to dive in a moment. Before we start, just introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Fabi. I'm a virtual assistant and systems expert, and I support other female business owners work in a more sustainable way, so we don't burn out by putting the right foundations and systems in place that support us to work more sustainably. And I think one thing that comes always for me into mind is, having a sustainable business is working more sustainably. And part of that is having the right systems in place, as well as working in a different way. So that's what I want to talk about today. So working more according to your capacity. It's something I'm really passionate about, because I myself, and I know many people that, we have the tendency of overworking, of pushing, of wanting to do more, achieve more, but also filling our days really, really full, our days and weeks, and then being exhausted. And a lot of the times what we see is burnout happening in that kind of self-employed world. And so how can we approach it differently? How can we do it differently? And I know that's hard, and it's not surprising that we work like that in, kind of a society that praises overworking and, being really busy is a badge of honor. And also, where it's very easy in the online kind of business world to compare yourself to others as well, it all creates a lot of pressure and thinking, okay, they're doing so much, I should be doing more. So that's, it's not surprising that we do that and that we think we need to do more in order to achieve more. But I think it's really important that we come back to working according to our capacity to really make this sustainable, to do this for a long time, because that's what we're here for. We want to grow our business, but we want to make it sustainable. So I think a huge part of that is working according to your capacity. So when you come back to, planning your goals, planning your projects and your week and your month, and planning it all out, really asking yourself, do I have capacity for this? And often we go in from like a mind perspective. Yes, I technically have time in my diary. But do we want to fill every second of every waking day? But also time doesn't always equal capacity. Just because you have time doesn't mean you have mentally the capacity to hold more things. Because first of all, your work might be draining, take up a lot of kind of brain capacity, but also, it's not just work, is it? It's your life around it as well. So there might be things going on, outside of your work, your business, but even within there as well, there might be another big project. So do you actually have capacity to take a second one on? To really dedicate it the time I want to. But then also your personal life, are there things going on in your personal life? Are you caring for somebody? Are you moving house? Or, maybe it's just generally a busier time, or your kids are going back to school, whatever it is, there's things going on. And often we see it as like two separate things, it's business and it's personal life, but it's all intertwined. So what's going on in your personal life will affect your work and the other way around. So it's, do you have space alongside your other commitments, as well as, how much capacity are taking the things up that you're already doing? Do you really have the headspace and energy to do more? Even though your calendar might say that you have time, do you really have the space energetically to commit to yet something else? And then often I know what happens is that we do it because we have all the best intentions, or maybe there's a bit of people pleasing, but often it ends up then we can't do the work properly, we're overwhelmed, we're exhausted, and sometimes even resentful, because we know we shouldn't have said yes when we did. So I think it's that invitation of really listening to your gut. What is your gut saying? It's like, I think our body gives us a great reaction. When you plan your quarter, your year, and so it's like, how do you feel about it? Does it feel excited and spacious, or is your body already retracting? It's like, oh, this is too much. This is overwhelming already. And I think if we're already feeling like that from the beginning, it's only going to get worse a lot of the time. Sometimes we need, put the right systems and support in place, but sometimes it's really listening to that and it's okay, this is too much. Maybe I can do something else, something smaller that will also move me forward, but that I have capacity for, or breaking down that bigger project a little bit more, because often I think what happens is that we overestimate what we can achieve in a short time, so we cram it all in and then feel really overwhelmed and do none of it. So what we can do instead is really listening to that. Okay, what do I actually have capacity for? Breaking it down, taking smaller steps, and then actually achieving what we want to achieve without burning out, without the constant overwhelm and stress. But just allowing, and I think that's what it comes back to, allowing ourselves to take a little bit more time. It doesn't all need to be achieved right now, allowing a little bit more time, but we're actually getting it done. And we don't feel horrible around it. We don't exhaust ourselves. And that's challenging to switch around, from how you might have used to work or how you're working right now to changing that. And that in itself is going to take time. We always fall back into old patterns. But allowing, always coming back to that little reminder, okay, am I working to my, is this within my capacity right now? And then being honest with ourselves. And that listening process takes some time. Not always going to get it right. We're still going to commit to things that we might not be able to do, but that's okay. It's not about being perfect, but rather taking those gentle steps to working more towards your capacity. So yeah, coming back, just looking at my notes, I don't forget anything. Yeah, and just not being so harsh on ourselves as well. I think I wanted to really mention that within that. Because we set those expectations for ourselves a lot of the times, don't we? Not always, but sometimes. And then we don't meet them, and then we're really harsh on ourselves as well. But a lot of the times, when we fill our diary so much, we already setting ourselves up for failure. And then we're being on top harsh on ourselves for not doing it. Okay, why have I not done it if somebody else can? We don't know what's going on in somebody else's lives or what support they have. So comparing ourselves is really difficult. It just doesn't help because we're all in our different journey. But I know it's easy to do. So really it's just an approach of being gentler and kinder with ourselves. We're setting ourselves up for more success actually than that failure of, okay, I'm never going to achieve that anyway. Because I'm cramming too much in and I'm going to feel exhausted and terrible about myself. By actually inviting more gentleness and kindness towards ourselves and, okay, do I actually have space for this? Or am I just doing it because I think I should be doing it? And I think that's a good reminder as well, that if that work comes up, it's usually a sign of, okay, maybe I'm doing something that I don't actually want to do or don't have space for. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm also going to excuse me, share my resource below. It's a free daily planner that just helps you with that invitation of checking in. Okay, do I have capacity? What do I have capacity for today? And to just start planning in a way, planning and organizing your days and your weeks in a way that's more aligned to your capacity and invites that gentle checking in on a regular basis. So we'll link that below. Hope you'll find it helpful. And I'd love to know, as always, what's your biggest takeaway from today's session? How are you approaching work at the moment? Is it something you might need to change, or are you already doing that? Are you already inviting that listening to yourself and your capacity? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments, and as well as any other takeaways. And thank you so much for joining for this mini training. I hope you found it useful, and I hope I'll see you again soon for another mini training. Take care.